Helen Goldfuss. Helen? Yes, you are. Thank you would be good start, and I'm sure in a minute you can also add
I'm a little bit overwhelmed because on the 13th, it was in the papers in Hamilton. On the 14th, I was honored at Queen's Park, and now I get a call a few days ago that I'm going to be honored here too, and I'm kind of overwhelmed. And I'm really very, not just thankful, but grateful that I was able to, after the war, to come to such a wonderful country that accepts everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from. And I've been very blessed with whoever survived in my family, with my daughters. And I have still two brothers in Toronto, twins, that were born in 41, just at the beginning of the Holocaust. And I want to thank everybody for doing this kind of wonderful thing for the Holocaust, to be recognized everywhere for what happened in this kind of world that we live in. And it's very sad to see that genocide is still going on and very little done about it. And I hope our next generations will be able to solve a lot of the world's ills and terrible things that are happening now and make it a better world for everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
So Helen at 91 is still a flirt, I have to say, because I said, you can spend the night here if you like. And she said, I'll spend the night with you. I said, no, I didn't mean that. I said, spend the night here at council if you care to. So, Helen, thank you for being here, and all the best to you. Thank you. Okay, well, don't, just walk slowly. I think Aidan Johnson wants to add a little something. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just very quickly, Madame Goldfuss, merci. Vous êtes vraiment une héroïne et une grande inspiration à tous et à tous. It's an honor, Mr. Mayor, to have Shalom Village in Ward 1 and to have the bulk of our Hamilton Region Jewish community, both historic and present, in the ward. Helen has done so much for Holocaust education in both the English language and her own native French language in terms of educating students and adults in the Hamilton region about the Holocaust. I'm proud to report that Helen's own testimony is captured in McMaster University's extensive Holocaust historical video archives. It's a very valuable contribution, deepening our own history and linking the evil of the Holocaust, the history of the Holocaust, to our own neighborhoods, our own community, and reminding us that that which is past is not necessarily past. You've taught us all so much, Helen, and we thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well said. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Members of Council, could I have a motion on the May 11th, 2016 meeting as presented? Moved by Councillor Aidan Johnson, second by Councillor Green. All in favor? Carried. And we have communications items 5.1 through 5.13. I will deal with them one at a time. On item 5.1, will we proceed? Seconded by Councillor B. Johnson. All in favor? Carried. Item 5.2, we need a disposition on this one. What is your wish? Received, moved by Ferguson, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Councillor Pearson.
Mr. Mayor, I certainly have no problem receiving, but I'm just wondering why we wouldn't support this. This is with regards to the fluctuating gas prices. I mean, I'm reading this today and reread it and thinking, I don't know why these prices have to go up and down on weekends, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I can drive in the morning, it'll be one price, and I can drive home 4 hours later and it's a different price, and I really think we should be supporting it.
Okay, so we had a motion to receive, but I didn't hear a seconder on that. So motion by you then, Councillor Pearson, to endorse?
I'll move the motion to endorse.
Endorse, seconded by? Councillor Green. Okay, and Councillor Green on this topic then.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and certainly rising costs of utilities, hydro, gas, even for your cars has been continually to squeeze our community, our residents, and so I'm in full support of asking for predictability and regulation so people can plan and budget accordingly. This market and the effects that it has, particularly on some of our most vulnerable who are on such a fixed income where a $10, $15, $20 fluctuation could mean the difference between feeding their families or coming up short on rent. And that's a very real scenario that people are facing. So I commend the City of Timmins and fully support Councillor Pearson with this. I'm hopeful that in the future we'll have a better resolution to our energy crisis, but as it stands now, this is, these prices continue to rise, Mr. Mayor, and rates, income stay the same, pay stays the same, Ontario Works and ODSP stays the same, and so, I don't understand how our provincial government can expect people to get by without having the support of predictable, affordable utilities. So I fully support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, I thought that this might be something exclusive to Timmins because what we've experienced here in Hamilton is significant drops in prices. And I can remember paying $1.50 a litre for gasoline, and we saw 85 cents this summer. It may have crept up a bit now. Gas prices we're paying significantly less. And I saw the report from our energy group that we picked up hundreds of thousands of dollars just in 2015 because of reducing energy prices. So I was puzzled where this was coming from, since not only the City of Hamilton, but the marketplace in general, over the last 4 years have seen a significant reduction in energy costs, other than hydro. And hydro, of course, is controlled by government. And I think hydro rates are up some 60% over the last 5 years. But the others, we're doing just fine with them. So that's why I voted or supported just receiving.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Piers.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. As just a closure on this, I certainly, as I move this and support it, reason being, there is no rhyme or reason to the fluctuation. I think it's the only industry that's allowed to do this in Ontario. Well, we won't go there, Councillor. But, and we have seen there's been a significant increase in the last couple of weeks that there is no reason for, because it's not like, they're saying there's some catastrophic events going around the world that are affecting our gas prices. So again, I'm certainly glad to move this.
Okay, thank you. I have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Hearing none. Item 5.2, motion regarding Lyme disease from the Regional Clerk of Niagara. Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, I would like to vote that we endorse this as well. This is a common problem. In fact, in my ward in particular, it's starting to become increasingly so. So I would really like to endorse this.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Pearson. Any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 5.4. What is your wish? Motion to be received? All in favor? Carried. Item 5.5. We need a recommendation on that. That is a Township of East Gwillimbury regarding Strategic Energy Initiatives Hydro 1. What is your wish? All doing a quick read. No, I didn't hear it. Whisper it to me. Councillor Pearson.
Well, Mr. Mayor, maybe with, just I understand I'm hearing around the table, there's a little bit concerned actually is about, and I'm concerned that this may have something to do with our recent restructuring of our own utilities of hydro. I'm wondering if we should refer this to staff for clarification and what this issue is actually, what they're actually endorsing or putting forward.
Okay,
so I would move that we send it to staff to report back on their motion.
Okay, and the question is which staff? So,
through you, Mr. Mayor, just leave it with me and I'll ensure the right department or departments look at it.
All right, so motion to refer to Chris Murray. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 5.6. All in favor? 5.7. 5.8. Carried. 5.9. 5.10. 5.11. 5.12. And 5.13. Thank you very much. Councillor Johnson, a motion on the communications, please. Question on communications? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, given the amount of supportive letters as they relate to LRT, will these be just as they're received put into the ether, or will they be kind of accrued and accumulated over the time of this discussion have on record for further conversations. Is it worth asking that direction that these letters be kept on file for future discussion, or is that automatically done?
Let me just check with the clerk. Janet?
We would need direction.
At this time, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'd like to move that all letters, either in support or in LRT, be referred to the LRT subcommittee for consideration and collection and be on the public record there.
Okay, is there a seconder for that?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Farr. Okay, any comment or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Carried, thank you. Councillor Johnson, motion.
Thank you. This is seconded by Councillor Farr that Council Communications 5.1 through 5.13 be approved as presented.
Thank you, all in favor? Councillor Connolly, I have a motion to move in committee of the whole for consideration of the committee reports, please.
Thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Pearson that council move into committee of the whole for consideration of the committee reports.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Carried. Councillor Johnson, you are in the chair, sir.
Good evening. So, we are now on item 6.1. The Planning Committee presents the Special Planning Committee Workshop Report 16-009 and respectfully recommends that it be received. Am I reading the wrong thing?
That's right.
No, it is right. Councillor B. Johnson, may I please have a motion on the report?
Yep, thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Maria Pearson, that the 9th report of the Planning Committee be received.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Carried.
Any opposed? That is carried. So, 6.2. The Public Works Committee presents Clerk's Report 16-009 and respectfully recommends that it be received. Councillor Whitehead, may I please have a motion? Oh, Councillor Whitehead isn't here. Councillor Jackson, may I please have a motion on the report? I see. Councillor Collins, thank you very much, is moving a motion on the report. Seconded by Councillor Vanderbeek. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that is carried. 6.3. The Board of Health presents Report 16-005 and respectfully recommends item 1. On item 1, Councillor Ferguson, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to publicly recognize and thank Dr. Tran from our Health Department and Deputy Cunliffe, who those are the two individuals that spearheaded getting us through the process. And Deputy Cunliffe also agreed to absorb the cost of putting epinephrine auto-injectors into every fire truck into their 2016 budget. And so Dr. Tran has also been a very big supporter of this program. End game is to get it into every public facility, whether it's halls and also into every fire truck and ultimately into every food establishment throughout the city of Hamilton. Food allergies are growing at the rate of 18%. I am disappointed after meeting a senior staff with the parent company of Lime Ridge Mall, that Lime Ridge Mall decided not to participate, unlike Jackson Square, who have participated, and they actually had one occurrence there, but the patient had her own EpiPen on them. But every guard in Lime Ridge Mall does carry an epinephrine auto-injector on their belt to be ready in case this happens. So I'm hopeful that by the June meeting, we'll have a report back from the Health Department about putting them in every public building that the city has. So we're very close to getting that done. Thanks for your time once again. Thank you to the Fire Department and to the Health Department.
Thank you for advocacy on this, Councillor Ferguson. So all in favor of item 1? Item 2. Mayor Eisenberger, may I please have a motion to approve the report as presented and receive the information section?
Yes, sir. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robert Pizzuta, that the 5th report of the Board of Health be adopted as presented and the information section received.
Thanks. All in favor?
Carried.
Moving along to 6.4. The Planning Committee presents Report 16-010 and respectfully recommends item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. On item 4, Councillor Farr.
Quick thanks to all of the staff over a decade and all of the councillors of this term and past who have gotten us to this stage. More stages to come, but this is the Piers 7-8 Urban Design Study approval here tonight. We had a few delegations at Planning Committee. I think there were 4 in total, with the prevailing theme of continue to work with us from the community, continue to engage engage with us, and certainly that's something we're committed to doing. This is big news. We're obviously purporting to maintaining our desire to be shovel-ready by 2018 for Pier 8. That's 40% of the land mass in Pier 8 for commercial and primary residential development. Good, smart development, mid-rise development, and certainly coveted lands there right on the waterfront at the foot of James, essentially. A big part of this is 7 as well, which is more the recreational waterfront West Harbour master plan, and certainly lots of great news and great engagement has occurred to date, and more to come on that as well, and it fits quite nicely with the urban design study for Pier 8. Wonderful pictures were on display above the fold in the Hamilton Spectator about 2-3 weeks ago, and certainly at the Planning and Economic Development Committee and the West Harbour Committee a week prior, but it's so much more than just the pretty pictures we're seeing, and there are hundreds of very qualified people. Some of our senior staff, Chris Phillips and others, are here tonight who have been on this file and working very closely with fellow staff members, councillors, and the community, and doing a great job to date. So this is just another step toward the development of the West Harbour, but it's a big one here tonight with the Pier 7 and 8 urban design study approval.
Thank you, Councillor Farr. Mayor Fred.
Thank you very much. And just to echo what Councillor Farr just said, and to compliment Councillor Farr, during his time on council here, it's been his issue to stick handle through process, and there have been many challenges, and I just want to compliment him on his steadfast and focused work on getting this through. It's not been an easy challenge, and balancing the needs of the local community at the same time respecting the desire for everyone to get access to the waterfront has always been the challenge. And I think we've balanced that very nicely with the urban design study that was delivered that showed, pictorially what I think we hope to see happen here, which is ample green space and recreational space on the pier, as well as some commercial opportunity and significant residential development that will make it not only a great place to live, but a great place for our community at large to visit. So we're closer than ever. It's been 25 years in the making, in fact. The first time I dealt with the waterfront development concept was in 1991. So this has not been done in a hurry. It's been done very thoroughly and very efficiently. In fact, that all of the issues have been dealt with and some of the challenges that have been met. And we are now at the stage where we can actually start working towards actual disposition of land and getting some actual development happening on the ground there. So congratulations to all, staff included, and all members of council that have continued to support this, and a special acknowledgement to Councillor Farr for a great job of stick handling a pretty difficult file, in fact, and we're now at a point where we're almost ready to go, which is very exciting. So congratulations all.
Thank you very much. So, on item 4, all in favor? Item 5. Item 6. Item 6, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. This item 6 was an update given by staff about the discharge of firearms. And just to keep this clear, it's in the rural area. This is not the urban area. So if you don't mind, please, there were a lot of rumors that were flying around about this, and I really want to get the questions out there. And I see that Marty's here today. So through you, Mr. Chair, Marty, the first thing that was flying around was that we're trying to ban hunting in Hamilton. Are we trying to ban hunting in Hamilton?
The Chair, no. We are doing a review of the bylaw, and the primary objective is to review the boundaries under which the discharge of firearms is permitted.
Thank you. And through you, Chair DeMarty, was there ever a councillor or a group of councillors come to you or any of your staff to request that we ban hunting in Hamilton?
Through the Chair, no. This was a direction from the Planning Committee in September of 2015 to do a review of the bylaw.
Thank you. And that leads to my next question, Marty. Why a review now?
Through the Chair, because of the development in the rural areas and the proximity of discharging firearms and close to residential properties, we needed to undertake a review of the bylaw to determine where it's safe to discharge a firearm.
So thanks, Marty. So it's really due to the fact that the urban is starting to come into what used to be a rural area, and that we're trying to look at the mapping to create that buffer between hunting and new development. So this is not based on a single incident in Glanbrook or Bimbrook or Elfrida. Can you please clarify?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you. Are farmers exempted from this?
Through the chair, farmers protecting their livestock are exempt from the bylaw.
Thank you. And is our gun clubs exempted from this as well?
Yes, they are exempt.
Thank you. And you also want to put together a stakeholders committee, and I asked this at planning just to get a better understanding. So not only would we be asking, the police and the staff, and we're also asking anglers and hunters and associated clubs and associations?
Chair, that's correct, as well as the Ministry of Natural Resources and Conservation Authorities.
Thank you. And my last question through you, Chair. So we're creating a map, or trying to create a map that's going to respect the new development and the hunting practice, and creating some sort of a buffer. For some of you that don't know, if you went up to Queenston Motors right now, across the road you can hunt. So that's where there's this need to push back the mapping a little bit, just to respect the new development from the old. So, Marty, one last question. One of the confusion that came out was the actual maps, the actual proposed changes. When you release this document, are we going to also attach the maps with the proposed changes, just to give people an idea of what we are actually talking about?
Through the chair, yes, we will be, and we're working on better maps to use as part of our public consultation.
Thank you very much. So those are my questions, and I'd be happy to move that we receive item 6.
Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
One more question through to Marty. Somehow it got out that my community council meeting was going to be the decision maker on banning hunting in Hamilton, and about 200 hunters in their fatigues showed up to our little meeting room, and fortunately the fire department wasn't around, because I could have been in trouble. But I'm not sure what triggered that, and why the Anglers and Hunters Association encouraged all their members to come out. Will you be going out, or someone on your staff be going out to meet with the hunters and anglers and doing other public consultation? Because they're getting terribly mixed messages. I had a phone call again about the planning meeting where they're encouraging to fill the council chambers up, and I said, what for? It's just an information session. And I think I must have called off a few, because Councillor Johnson tells me there wasn't a huge crowd at planning. But what public consultation are you going to do, particular to the Hunter and Anglers Association, are putting a very confused message out there?
Through the chair, there was a lot of confusing information on the internet from the Hunters and Anglers Associations. We have communicated with them. They've taken that information down, and we have about 18 different types of anglers and hunters groups that we will be consulting with as part of this process.
Thank you very much. I have no further speakers. Therefore, on item 6, all in favor? Thanks. Item 7, 8. Councillor Johnson, may I please have a motion to approve the report as presented and receive the information section?
Yes, you may. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Doug Conley that the 10th report of the Planning Committee be adopted as presented in the information section received.
Thank you very much. All in favor? General Issues Committee presents Report 16-013 and respectfully recommends Item 1, Item 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, on Item 4? 4, 5. Councillor Green on Item 5.
I do have to ask, because I see that I was in this meeting, but it didn't register with me that it was sole source procurement. So if I could just have maybe Chris, through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, comment as to why a $1.2 million contract needs to be sole source, non-competitive in its bid.
Mr. Murray.
So, I mean, generally speaking, that's not what we do. But let me just refer, if you don't mind, this to corporate services. And I think, Brian, can you speak to the rationale? But generally speaking, we try to avoid that, as you well know.
Sorry, yeah, through the chair. So this particular vendor has worked with city staff in the past, and they've got a good working relationship with them. So they've just extended some of the existing contracts that are with
Councillor Green?
My apologies again. This is certainly something I should have caught at GIC. Certainly don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I was hoping for a better answer than that. I'm going to ask through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I thought maybe I'd hear they had proprietary technology, they're the only company that can do this. I didn't hear that.
Sorry.
What makes them as providers, aside from their great relationship with the city, given the size and scope of the contract, what makes them kind of uniquely positioned to receive $1 million contract without it going to open bid?
To whichever staff member would like to answer.
So through the chair, yeah, unfortunately I wasn't involved in this report, but on behalf of the IT division. So the report identifies that they do have the expertise in addressing the property information management, and they're engaged using a roster process to develop a solution during the 3-year. So it's just that they've got some experience dealing with other databases that are currently in use.
And Mr. Murray is indicating. Can we go to Mr. Murray?
So I'm going to suggest, because I think, Mike was probably more intimate with the details on this particular item, that if you wish to table this matter, that we can certainly come back and provide you with a more fulsome answer to all the rationale as to why this is unfolding. I'm not sensing that it's time sensitive, which I think if it were, then we would be saying something else at this point in time. But if it's to the advantage of council in making its decision that it wishes us to take this matter and at the next GIC provide fulsome answers, then we're happy to do that.
Thank you very much, Chris, through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I certainly would feel much more comfortable with that and happy to move that referral motion back to GIC. I also own responsibility being in attendance at that GIC and not being maybe not being as aware of what it was I was approving at the time, so I'll own that responsibility. I'll blame it on new fatherhood. I don't have that at least for another couple weeks, so I'm going to go ahead. Done? Okay, I'll trade it in if you trade in the new counselor, and then we're good. So with that, I'd like to move that this item be referred back to GIC for full presentation and hope that we can have a more clear rationale for $1 million single source non-competitive procurement.
And who is your seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Farr. So Councillor Ferguson had indicated, and I'll turn the floor to him.
Yeah,
the motion is on the floor.
Just a comment. I was uncomfortable with this. I didn't make the GIC meeting, but I've always been uncomfortable with sole sourcing. But this looks like a computer software is what we're procuring. And I remember Toronto got in a lot of glue for sole sourcing a computer software system a number of years ago. The optics of that didn't go well, and was for the same reason. Toronto staff. And so I just want to be real comfortable as to why we're doing this. So I fully support referring this back to GIC for further information.
Councillor Whitehead.
Yeah, I think Councillor first for raising that. It's the Bellamy report that did the research and study and came out with a number of recommendations. And it's my understanding that our procurement has applied most of those recommendations in place from the lessons learned. So I'm pretty comfortable, at least, that we've learned from those lessons. But I think it is prudent to get the answers that are needed for this particular case.
So, on this motion to refer back to GIC, all in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Item 6. On item 6, Councillor Green.
There was I'd be remiss because I did receive more than a few emails on this particular item. There was some concerns from the community that this particular developer may have already received more than the $18 million allotment in terms of outstanding funding. I've been told in the interim that that's not the case. If I could just have this assurance publicly through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, that the particular, I think it's $8 million in outstanding for all the loans approved, that indeed this developer has not exceeded that. Can you just please confirm that for the people at home that are watching and might have concerns?
Mr. Thorne.
So through the chair, this is within the limits of the maximum per developer that have been approved by council.
And my second question is, understanding the magnitude of developments this particular developer is kind of bringing forward and the pace that he's bringing them forward in, what is our threshold? Are we increasing the threshold, or are we looking at decreasing the threshold? Have we created a Vantage rule now, or where are we with that?
So through the chair, in the new CIP program that was approved about a couple of weeks back, the maximum per developer has been decreased. The reason for that is to be able to spread it across a few more projects. So that is a change that is in the new CIP.
And what will that number be?
Through the chair, I believe it's from 18 to 15, but I'd have to go back and double check that.
Okay, so, and I completely appreciate that. I know I've had the conversations in advance with the ward councillor, it being his file and understanding as I said, the pace and the magnitude for which this developer develops. If you could, just for the sake of public's understanding with the rationale of this type of program, the idea, if you could just expand on it, that we provide this incentive, understanding that the increased tax assessment, over 5 or 10 years pays it back and then some. Can you just maybe explain the rationale for the folks that are watching and trying to figure out why we're, or some would say, subsidizing this type of development?
Through the chair, that's correct. The councillors, I think, summarized it well, that there are different incentive programs, obviously, within the CIP. This particular program, as well as the tax increment grant program, rely upon, are based on the future revenues, the future assessment revenues that would occur to the city, as the basis for why the city would provide an incentive to make the development happen.
And so if somebody wanted to, particular to this particular developer, find the rationale, they could understand that the $18 million outstanding would be backed against a much larger total tax assessment of their property holdings. And the reason why that was important is because when the story, Mr. Deputy Mayor, hit the paper, and I received some emails that I'm happy to forward on to anybody and to make sure they're quantified in a very appropriate way, that this went on the public record and people understood that this is not untowards, this is not a special consideration, that it's the pace and rate at which this person is developing and the resulting tax assessment increase that the city will get over the next 5 to 10 years. So, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I can say that I'm comfortable with that. I've done my due diligence in working with the councillor on that, but did want to bring it to the public record today for those that are at home and still might have some questions.
Thank you very much. On item 6, item 7, item 8, 9, 10. Mayor Eisenberger, may I please have a motion to approve the report as presented and receive the information section?
Yes, sir. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Pizzuto, that the 13th report of the General Issues Committee be adopted as presented and information section received.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Moving along, AFA 6.6. The Audit, Finance and Admin Committee presents Report 16-008 and respectfully recommends Item 1. Item 2. Councillor Skelly, may I please have a motion to approve the report as presented and receive the information section?
You may, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Brenda Johnson, that the 8th report of the Audit, Finance and Administration Committee be adopted as presented and the information section received.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Carried.
Great. See you in 14 months.
Hiring already? Good job. Oh. Councillor Conley, can I have a motion to move to have the committee reports rise and report, or something like that? Just move something. Yes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Brenda Johnson, that the committee of the whole rise and report.
That's the one. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Whitehead, you have a motion? A motion?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor.
What's your motion, Councillor?
It's urbanization of rural cross-section roads. But what I want to do is, it's supposed to be feasibility, and it's not in the language. Should be the staff be directed to report on the feasibility.
Okay, so you want to make that adjustment?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to amend that, moved by yourself, seconded by Councillor Farr. Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. On the motion then, Councillor?
Moved by myself and Councillor Donna Skelly, thank you. New. that the staff be directed to report on the feasibility with capital plan to urbanize rural cross-section roads in the next 5 years, and that staff develop a strategy to ensuring safety in neighborhoods not yet urbanized.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to speak to that?
Well, clearly, Mr. Mayor, and many of my councillor colleagues around this table will recall the ever-ending battle for Chester and Chesley in the Gorley neighborhood. These were rural cross-section roads that were the main driver for that neighborhood, and Sir John McDonald School is in that neighborhood. It was the main bus thoroughfare and pedestrian access to the school, and yet it was a rural cross-section, no sidewalks with ditches. In fact, we almost had a child die in one of those ditches over those years. Everything else has been urbanized. So this is one of those anomalies where you have a complete neighborhood. Everything's urbanized with curbs and sidewalks, but the two major streets coming off of West 5th and Stone Church were still rural cross-section, and it took 8 years to get that funded. It's expensive to find the capital to urbanize a rural cross-section road. I have a whole neighborhood with a church, school, that is still rural cross-section, and I've been trying to get a sidewalk in there, and Gary's made it pretty clear that we would have to urbanize that road, and it'd be a heavy expense, far greater than my area rating dollars could ever cover. And my understanding that this challenge is also, and I remember working with Scott Duval and certainly Councillor Skelly, that there's significant areas of rural cross-sections in the urban boundary in her ward. I know Maria Pearson has a number of them as well as Councillor Connolly. So I think it's time that we have staff at least talk about the magnitude of this challenge and bring that report back so that we can take a look at it and then start strategizing from there and how we address it in the future. It is a deficit. It is a safety issue for community, and I'm hoping that by at least having that feasibility study and understanding the magnitude, we can at least start the dialogue and strategize about how we make these neighborhoods, these streets, and these residents whole.
All right, thank you. I have Councillors Ferguson and Pearson. Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. I'm going to support this motion, but I suspect it's unaffordable. For one thing, Councillor White, I think you need to qualify. This is only rural cross-sections in urban areas, because it doesn't say that. If you're going to go into Councillor Pasuda's ward and urbanize all those rural roads, that would be unaffordable, or Ancaster, for that matter. Just to caution everyone that over half of Ancaster is rural cross-section. We didn't get sanitary sewers until the mid-70s, so everything built during that time period is rural cross-section. Now, a lot of my residents like it because it's heavily treed and sort of rural-looking and country-looking, small-town-looking, but a number of residents would like to have their streets urbanized also because you get sidewalks. So I'll support this, but I'm pretty darn sure it'll go back as unaffordable because it'd be tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, just to do it.
Okay, thank you. So let me apologize to Councillor Farr because you were the first to actually indicate and I missed it. So Councillor Farr and then Councillor Pierce.
I almost wanted to withdraw anyway. The major point I wanted to make was the feasibility word, and that was already corrected, and I was happy to second that from the mover, Councillor Whitehead, who has undoubtedly over my two terms continued to reiterate the issue as it relates to sidewalks. The former Ward 7 councillor brought up the lack of sidewalks in the past, and it's always intrigued me from the point of view of my best buddy living in Birdland in Burlington on a street where they do not want sidewalks. There are residents who actually have a preference to maintain the status quo, and generally they're the only ones driving on that road. So kind of to that point, even though this is a feasibility motion and understanding what the previous speaker, and I'm glad the previous speaker actually came ahead of me, as it relates to, through you to staff, a road with maybe 6 homes on it that may now or didn't prior but now falls in an urban boundary where maybe a few residents would prefer, like many in Birdland, I don't know how many, just I know that there's a particular street that I'm on now and again, and I visit a friend and none of them, and in fact there is some sidewalk work being done can right now in Birdland and Burlington, but they've avoided certain pockets where residents prefer to keep it without sidewalks, believe it or not. So when we have a situation where we have maybe 6 or 7 homes on what looks and feels like a rural street where really only the residents on that street drive, no one else would for any good reason for the most part, versus a street in a heavily urbanized neighborhood that sees thousands of cut-through traffic a day through a residential street, both labeled residential streets, Mr. Mayor, with other issues, safety issues. Maybe there's more truck traffic, or there's more commercial traffic. There's a lot of maybe institutional activity at certain times of day, or commuter issues at certain times of day, peak issues, parking issues, those sorts of things. How do you compare and contrast on, even if this is a feasibility study, and specifically to the whereas, Mr. Mayor, and I don't see John here, so I'm not sure, is it Betty that I'm referring to?
I think it's going to be Betty.
There's a whereas here that says the city has a responsibility to prioritize fundamental safety in neighborhoods over enhancements in other areas already adequately urbanized. I kind of appreciate where the mover's coming from there, but I'm wondering, as it relates to that whereas and my preamble on the house with 6 homes on what looks like and feels like a rural street where really only those people should be driving, and that's all the traffic they see, versus a street with sidewalks in a heavily urbanized area that sees thousands of cut-through cars per day. This whereas says, woe on the enhancements until everybody gets sidewalks. So I'm wondering how do we address that in the feasibility through you?
Betty? It's a long question, but I'm sure you've got a thoughtful answer.
Well, through the mayor, I'll certainly bring that back, and it's a consideration that there is an appreciation that some residents do not like to have sidewalks in front of their homes. I will flag that, and I will ask the staff to take a look at bringing that back as a component of the analysis that's the feasibility as it's brought back for consideration.
In short, through you to Betty, if we could also look at that point that's being made here. I don't even know, maybe the mover knows, and he can more than happy if he jumps in. Where is it our responsibility to prioritize fundamental safety? What is that, the pedestrian mobility plan? Did I miss that piece of the PED plan that there's a mandate of council? What mandate of council says it's our responsibility to prioritize fundamental safety? I think it needs expanded words, but regardless, I do second a feasibility motion here. It is going to come back at a high price, but if we could pay attention to this whereas, Betty, through you, Mr. Mayor, and kind of look at the compare and contrast of a very busy urbanized street versus a street that really sees limited traffic and maybe has residents that could care less about sidewalks.
I'm sure that will be part of their assessment, as Betty, I think, has indicated. So thank you for that. I've got Councillors Pearson, Green, and then Councillor Whitehead for a second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I appreciate Councillor Ferguson did raise the question. I mentioned it when Councillor Whitehead had this on as a notice a few meetings ago, that it's that the plan be to urbanize rural cross-section roads in the urban area. And I'd be happy to second that if Councillor Whitehead wants to amend it.
To clarify, right? Okay, moved and seconded. Does that clarify it for most? All right, any comments or questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Back to the main motion, Councillor Green.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I am actually really impressed by this particular motion, and specifically the whereas there has been a great deal of community engagement and encouragement regarding initiatives that push for the many enhancements in the name of safety on our streets. And I think what impresses me most about that is the good councillor's open-mindedness, his relentless pursuit of conversation, both through the digital means, and here I can think back to the folks of Lean Aberdeen who presented so passionately about the urbanist issues. Although I know there's been a conversation in the past, maybe perhaps in the second whereas, instead of urbanist approach, maybe we can even be more excited and call it an aggressive urbanist approach, as it's been called in the past. But I certainly support this and support the good work of the folks that are aggressively pushing for safe streets. And I'm very encouraged by Councillor Whitehead's coming around to urbanist issues, advocating them for his community up there in Ward 8, and I fully support this feasibility because he's right. The folks in his neighborhoods deserve to have those types of amenities that we across the inner city and urban areas also have. I know I was up there in Rymal today, and there's some great construction work happening that I think most of us would consider progress. See those roads and the cranes and everything digging in there, and some of the new developments that are happening along Sherman, Upper Sherman, because we know that those types of construction present short-term pain for long-term gain. So I certainly look forward to that open-mindedness in future discussions as it relates to construction and road redevelopment work along the inner city. So again, the aggressive urbanist approach for planning safer streets, and shout out to those folks from Lean Aberdeen who started this conversation some time ago. And most importantly, a shout out to Councillor Terry Whitehead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Whitehead, for a second time.
I want to make sure that the wording I have is being reflected. So it's the staff be directed to report on the feasibility to the Public Works Committee to produce a capital plan to urbanize rural cross-section roads within the urban boundary in the next 5 years. Then the staff develop a strategy for ensuring safety in neighborhoods not yet urbanized. So that covers it. Then, and I just want to thank my friend with the greatest sincerity that anyone that sits around this table and think they have all the answers and stops listening isn't doing their job. And clearly, it's incumbent upon us to stay open-minded, not draw the line, and appreciate and understand there's many points of view, and deliberate on all those points of view to render positions and strategies and priorities. So certainly that's been my practice. I will continue pushing the pendulum. I do that. That's my style. I won't stop. But doesn't mean that I'm not listening to many people that bring very good and interesting points forward. And I want to say a shout out to all my good friends on Twitter. I also want to thank my councillor colleagues. It is clear that there was a misunderstanding in many neighborhoods, even when I meet with we had a meeting on Scenic, for example, which is again another rural cross-section road, that they felt that they had to pay higher taxes because at one time the system was you put sidewalks in, you would end up paying directly, and that was the hurdle for them to actually support the sidewalks coming in. Our whole process has changed. So I can tell you, for example, on Christie Road, which is an extension of West 5th, it is now taking significant, and this is where the church and the school is, significant traffic off of West 5th, the bypass Upper James and cut over to the Agonai or whatever, Caledon or whatever the road is, and cut back to Upper James. So, and a lot of the parents that have their kids utilize that particular road network are scared to death. Now, these roads are being resurfaced several years ago, but they've never been urbanized, and again, they got ditches, and it's very expensive. And when people, when I get some of my friends on Twitter say, just put a sidewalk there, this is not just a simple solution because it is a rural cross-section with a ditch. There is no place to put the sidewalk, and therefore you'd have to completely urbanize that road to allow a sidewalk to go in. And I know that I'm going to continue working closely with our new councillor from Ward 7, as well as the other councillors that face the same issues, that there are challenges across our community within the urban boundary in respect to the safety. And I think this report is really two things. It's going to, and I think Councillor Ferguson hit on the nail, it's really going to draw the magnitude and the cost of fixing this issue so we can put things in perspective when we're dealing with capital budgets and when we're dealing with priorities in this community, that we got this lost leader or this lost cousin or whatever you want to call it, that's out there that still has a manifested issue in respect to safety. So I really thank my colleagues for supporting this motion.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments? If not, on 7-1 as amended, all in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Councillor Farr, a motion on a special occasion permit.
Yeah, it's before you, municipally significant brought to you by the Sonic Onion folks who bring us Super Crawl. It's the return of the Because Beer Craft Beer Festival.
Thank
And it's
you.
seconded by Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Councillor Jackson, regarding the Hamilton Hornets Rugby Football Club.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Ward 7 Councillor Donna Skelly, that the Hamilton Hornets Rugby Football Club post-game hosting special attainment permit liquor license request for the 18 dates that are here before you be deemed municipally significant, and that we have no objection to the Liquor License Board regarding granting this accommodation. So first of all, I'll move and second that to get it on the floor. I just want to make a comment.
Thank you, and feel free.
And I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, the Hamilton Hornets, who have probably played at Mohawk Sports Park for a good 30 years or more, have been a wonderful sports association and club. They've been very responsible. Current President Tom Edwards and his executive meet with me and city staff, primarily from Recreation, Steve Savor, regularly to keep in touch, and they have coexisted very well, very cooperatively with the residential neighborhood along Upper Kenilworth, Mohawk, and Lime Ridge Road. And so I'm just very pleased to provide this support to them for their special occasion permits and all the tournament and games they have. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. So all in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Hearing none. Councillor Johnson, you have a notice of motion. I understand you would like to waive the rules.
I would indeed, and this is requesting a report. So if I'm doing things correctly, I believe I move my waiver motion first, and that's seconded by Councillor Farr, that the rules of order be waived to allow for the introduction of a motion respecting the Pleasant View land acquisition possibility.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.
Oh, and I correct myself. It's seconded by Councillor Vanderbeek.
Okay.
And I have the signature to prove it.
Very good.
I'll move on to the motion itself, which I will read out. Whereas, and also seconded by Councillor Vanderbeek, whereas the Coots to Escarpment Eco Park System, or Eco Park, is a collaborative initiative among 9 partner agencies to protect, restore, and connect more than 3,900 hectares of natural land in West Hamilton, Dundas, Flamborough, and Burlington. Whereas City of Hamilton signed a memorandum of understanding in 2013, which was approved by Council regarding Eco Park. Whereas the natural features of this area include a portion of the Niagara Escarpment and the lands and waters associated with Coots Paradise Marsh and Grindstone Creek. These areas are recognized for their significant biodiversity, vistas, and long cultural history. Whereas over the period of 2012 to 14, City of Hamilton has provided $550,000 in funding to HCA for land acquisition in support of Coots and Escarpment Park. And whereas the Pleasant View acquisition in support of the Coots to Escarpment Eco Park system represents an $850,000 investment, of which the City of Hamilton has been requested to contribute $300,000. Therefore, be it resolved that staff report back with funding options and potential funding agreement requirements in support of the Coots to Escarpment Eco Park system. That is the motion. And if I might say a quick thing, this ask to City of Hamilton keeps coming to my attention within the environmentalist community, from the RBG board, and within Hamilton Conservation Authority. I think looking into this would behoove us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any further comments? Here, sorry. Councillor Green.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Mayor, that I had the opportunity to go on kind of a Gilligan's Island bike tour during a recent McMaster Sustainability Conference that was hosted here. I thought it was going to be a 2-hour tour. It ended up being about 5 hours. But we ended up in Dundas. Admittedly, I did take the bus back, so that's my... I'll tell you that. But along the way, we did stop off at this eco park, and I learned that we have one of the, I guess it's a square kilometer of one of the most eco-diverse places in Canada. And it's absolutely incredible, and I believe that it's attached to this project in some way. The folks that did the tour, it was an engineer fellow there from McMaster, talking about just how our city has this gem, an ecological gem, in this eco park that I don't know that we're necessarily adequately promoting as a community and as a city in terms of our brand and the diversity, the eco-diversity that we have right here locating within our own boundaries. So I just wanted to chime in and support Councillor Johnson and Councillor Vanderbeek, who've been working to see this final parcel come together, and we'll support any further activities they have in securing this land, one of the most ecologically diverse pieces of property, I think, in Canada. So something I thought some folks at home might want to know.
Great, thank you very much. The motion's before you. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you very much. And I'm going to go to items of interest. So, members of council, start with Councillor Connolly, who's also already waving me off. So, Councillor Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things that I'd like to bring to the residents' attention. A reminder, and I've mentioned the last few meetings, council meetings, that Orchard Park is celebrating their 50th anniversary on Saturday, June the 4th. From 6 to 1 a.m. there will be the party at the school, so I'm hoping that residents who attended and their children, etc., take an opportunity to get out and see where they used to be going through 4 years of high school. Another great bit of information is certainly a reminder that on Saturday, actually starts Saturday, June the 4th, and Sunday, June the 5th, will be the battle reenactment in Stony Creek. And on those days, will be the enactments themselves will be on Saturday at 3:30 and at 8:30, and then on Sunday on 2 p.m. And after the last event on Saturday, there will be fireworks in the park. There's also 19th century encampments, one-of-a-kind shopping, historical demonstrations, musical entertainment, old-fashioned games, food and refreshments. A reminder that the cost is $10 for adults, youth it's $5, and families $25, seniors $8. I hope everyone will get out. Look forward to another great day. Councillors in the Stony Creek area, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Connolly, and myself all have our period costumes ready to go, and certainly excited to be out there seeing the soldiers reenact the victory at the battle at Battlefield Park. And another, Mr. Mayor, on a sadder note, I just noticed in the paper today, Mr. John Aikman. I think we all knew Mr. Aikman, connected with the school board for many, many years. I won't go into all of the areas of service that he has provided over the years, but I think the one that we all know him best as was the manager of the Educational Archives and Heritage Center for the schools. And I know just on that basis, he will be tremendously missed, and it's very sad. And I certainly extend sincere condolences to the family. And lastly, just for the residents in Ward 10 so they know, I have had a huge issue with illegal signs going up all through the ward promoting one specific business. And I know I've received calls from residents. I have had staff involved. These signs are going up faster than they can take them down. It is a company that's advertising basements finished in 3 weeks. So staff are diligent. They are working on them, and I understand that they will be pursuing fines and charges against the company. Just so residents are aware out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Pearson for mentioning John Aikman and his wife Elaine. Actually, they are the ones that coordinate the concerts at 20 Place, which they're having this Saturday, and so it's going to be really heartbreaking not to see John on the drums and actor. So, going to community events, the Bimbrook's Farmers Market is opening this Saturday and every Saturday till October, 8 a.m. to noon. And conversely, the Winona Farmers Market is starting on June the 7th, and they start from 3 to 7. On the 27th, which is Saturday, is a traditional penny sale for the Christ Church in Woodburn. And on June the 4th, 50 United Church is having their lobster dinner, and the Wing 447 in Mount Hope is having their Community Appreciation Day from 10 to 4 p.m. They have horse buggy rides and barbecues and live music. So please come on out and support our veterans. On June the 11th, Immaculate Heart of Mary is having a plant and bake sale from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tonight, actually, they're having their pierogi dinner, so it's a little too late to announce. On June the 12th, they're also having their golf tournament. So if you have if you'd like any more details, please go to brendajohnson.ca and see more events that are happening in Ward 11. It's a busy season, and there's always something going on. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the festival season is upon us, and the big event in Ancaster is the Heritage Days event from June the 7th to June the 12th in Ancaster. It starts out with the Ancaster Mill Race on the Tuesday, the golf tournament on the Wednesday. Our farmers market opens on the Wednesday for the season up until October. We got the Taste of Ancaster on the Friday, the parade on the Saturday, along with the soapbox derby right down Wilson Street, Kids World, and then finishes up with the fireworks in the evening. So good chunk of the community out to that event. Encourage everyone to come out. The committee's been working very hard on making it extra special this year, so I look forward to seeing everyone on the parade. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Vanderbeek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. This coming Saturday is the Rotary Club's Lobster and Rib Fest in Dundas. So if you don't have your tickets, I'm not sure you'll be able to get one. But if you're looking for one, you can call my office and we'll do our best to find you a connection that might be able to look after you. Next weekend, the June 3rd to the 5th, is the Dundas International Busker Fest. So we're all looking forward to that. Followed by the Thursday, June 9th, Dundas Market opens again for the season. So from June until October, Thursdays at 3 o'clock, you can do your shopping in the parking lot behind at Miller's Lane and Hat at the market, local farmers only. I also want to mention that the Dundas District High School reunion is gearing up to hold its reunion in 2017 in June, but on June the 11th they will be having a golf tournament and dinner fundraiser, and if you are looking to sign up for that, you can certainly call my office and we will direct you to who can help you out with that. And that's about all I have, so thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Pizzuta.
Thank you, Mayor Eisenberger. I have a few things here. Back on Sunday the 15th, the Confederation Cup was held at Flamborough Downs, and I sat with Aaron Kirsten, the Flamborough Chamber, I call him the big boss there, and his wife, Diane, and above us sat Councillor Vanderbeek and her husband Peter, just above us at a table, and then we got together after at the one table and chatted, so we had no politics. It was all just horse racing stuff.
Just horsing around.
Horsing around,
yeah,
right.
I heard it.
So today at the Harry Howell Arena up at Clapson's Corners down there, the Flamborough Chamber of Commerce held an LRT meeting. I was a little late, but I got there. Paul Johnson is pretty polished at his presentations in LRT now. Really good job on presenting. Keenan Loomis was there from the Hamilton Chamber, and from your office, Chris Cutler was there. So it was a pretty good presentation. Joey Coleman filmed, so the Chambers asked for that back so they can look at what the comments were and the presentations. Let's see here. This past weekend, Victoria weekend, in Greensville to 2 in the Webster Falls area was, for me and for my residents, there was a disaster. There was so many people, so many cars parked, illegally parked, roads blocked, emergency service couldn't get in. I couldn't get through with my truck. We had a full-time vial officer there giving out tickets. Residents heard, I was there for 4.5 hours on Monday in Greensville. Residents heard I was there and they were searching me out. There's a police officer driving around, kept finding me and saying, so-and-so address, they want to see you. So-and-so address, they want to see you. So it is out of control there. The Conservation Authority, and I do sit there as chair, sometimes I wish not the way things are going there, as far as the Greensville residents. Trying to come up with solutions. We've changed things there. We're working on some kind of a transit system from somewhere. And I have my own liaison committee meeting. It's the 2 Webster liaison committee of about 12 residents who are working with me to find solutions, bring those forward back to the conservation next board meeting. But it's a disaster, and I feel bad for people. The amount of trespassing, the garbage, the diapers are left all over the place, bits of food, just wrong. So people can't enjoy their. So I don't know how we're going to deal with that other than point we're almost like closing the park off just to have rest so we can figure things out. But we work through that. June 4th coming up, the Rockton Lions are having their annual fish fry over at Beverly Community Center. Starts at 4:30 to 8. Adult tickets at the door at 30. If you order them and call in, they're $25. They had almost 1,000 people last year, and the Lions generate income. And right now, it's mostly going to the Seeing Eye Dog group in Oakville, doing great work down there. And the Christie Antique Auction is actually coming up this weekend too. And other than that, crops are growing like crazy with this hot weather. We just need some rain. It's unbelievable. I was going to spray my wheat 2 days ago. It was 4 inches high. When I went to spray yesterday, it was almost knee high. So I backed off. I didn't need spraying.
Thank you. I was at Crooks Hollow actually in Waterdown, and it was a traffic nightmare. Small little parking lot. They're all over the road. They're all over in the parking in the driveways, and it was difficult to get through. So great to see people out and about. but at the same time, create some havoc while we're at it. So I appreciate the challenge you're facing there. You're up to it, though. Yeah. Councillor Whitehead.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the continuation of my tours last Tuesday, and I want to thank staff for accommodating. I had the opportunity to visit two of our public works yards and talk to a number of the staff and look at some of the challenges in the future from a capital point of view and needs. And again, I had the opportunity to extend a gracious thank you for all the hard work of our frontline workers on behalf of the taxpayers, on behalf of certainly extending that thank you on behalf of this council. The message I continue to deliver is that we make a lot of decisions here, but we appreciate the hard work and dedication of our frontline workers, and that I guess not often enough we get out there to express that personally. So I'm passing that message to every nook and cranny of the Public Works Division, and I want to thank staff who've been very accommodating and facilitating these tours. And I believe we had this last round we had a representative from the new representative in the communications, Audrey, join us on the tour. And it was a bit of an eye-opener for her, and I hope to see her on a few more of these tours as well. And again, I can't say enough about the staff. I also, Jason Farr might like this one, Councillor Farr. But yesterday, we have the FOR program, and that is a program that was initiated. And I wish I could say that I was the originator. I was the originator in this particular program, but it was capitalizing on a great program that Councillor Farr initiated with Skate the Dream in the lower city. And it was about, we got, 3 golf courses, and we have a lot of youth in our community that are underprivileged, at risk. They do not have access to golf, period. So I wanted to build that bridge. And we had a couple of great sponsors come forward with Jumpstart and Nevada Bobs, who provided golf clubs, brand new golf clubs, for over 40 of these kids. I want to thank the professionals at Shadok that provided using the golf simulator. And they started in the East End, and they used it bring kids in, and then certainly on the mountain and in the lower city, because it is portable. And the pros have been using that tool in the winter months to train these young youth and get them ready to play golf. And yesterday I had the opportunity to go to the golf course and watch them practice, because it was their first day out in Shadok to actually exercise the skills that they were taught. Maybe I should have took some lessons, because I got to hit the first drive, and that drive was a blooper. But having said that, the kids really enjoyed it. I had a lot of parents come up to me and just, again, with tears in their eyes, talking about their child would have never had this opportunity if it wasn't for this program, and they wanted to extend a thank you to our staff, to myself, and certainly extend that thank you to every councillor around this table that supported the program. And again, just to see the smiles on these kids that wouldn't have this opportunity makes it all worthwhile. And, with Jesse leading the pack, incredible staff. I mean, I can't comment on how he is able to take all these kids, and he marches out in order, and they listen. He's incredible with the kids. And so we got some great staff doing that program. I couldn't be prouder. I will be hosting Constituency Day this Saturday at Westcliff Mall. This will be the last one for the season, and then we'll start again in September. It goes from noon till 3 p.m. And I'll always look forward to the many people that come out, and I get people that it's not a lot of duplicates. There's a lot of different people showing up with issues and concerns or voicing their opinions, and it is an opportunity to bring City Hall to the people, and that's what the whole forum is about. So, Mr. Mayor, those are my comments, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Councillor Skelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to, first of all, congratulate the people at the Concession Street BIA for a very successful inaugural Sidewalk Sounds this past Friday. It's just one of a series of events that will continue through the summer months, beginning in May through September, every third Friday of the month. And of course, it is just one of the many events that will be held on Concession Street through the summer. Street Fest will return. It's going to be held in August, August 13th, I believe. And we're all looking forward to the return of Street Fest in light of the fact that it had to be canceled during last year's construction season. I'd also like to encourage Councillor Pasuta to continue to bring lilacs to the office. He only brought it to one section of the office last week, but the scent was unbelievable. I think it was unfortunate that it was only in one section of the office, so I would encourage, if his farm is indeed as large as he claims it is, and that the lilacs are as abundant as they are, perhaps we should see more lilacs throughout the office. And other flowers. Thank you.
And that's that side of the building, because lilacs give me an instant headache. So if you can keep it on that side, that'll be just fine. Thank you very much. Okay. All the lilacs you want over there. Councillor Councillor Jackson.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. 4 public service announcements. The first Canadian-born Governor General, Vincent Massey, where there's a school named after him on the East Mountain. Council of the past term was very supportive to help me purchase 2 of the 4 acres when it was declared surplus at the corner of 7th Avenue and East 37th. And after 3 years of working with a citizens committee chaired by Kendra Brown and about 12 members and city staff, we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow night, which will be Thursday, May 26th. I invite the neighborhood to come out. It'll be just a half-hour ceremony, groundbreaking. And this summer, with council support this past capital budget year, $500,000 was approved, so that there'll be new playground structures, sun shelter, 4 fitness stations, all-purpose play court, benches, drinking fountain. Committees worked really, really hard. And again, Mr. Mayor, the heritage component of maintaining the name of Vincent Massey, the first Canadian-born Governor General, there'll be a recognition plaque. So it's going to be an exciting summer, and hopefully the park will be open by Labor Day. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, Cancer Assistance Program, 20-year existence on the mountain on concession, having a big fundraiser at Bayfront Park this Saturday, May 28th, registration at 9. It's called the Care Walk. I understand, Mr. Mayor, you're going to be in attendance in support, which is greatly appreciated from the mountain. 10 a.m. walk. So if you're interested in getting out to walking and supporting the Cancer Assistance Program, this Saturday, May 28th at 9 a.m. at Bayfront Park, President Lisa Owens, volunteer, and her executive, and the 200-plus volunteers that make up all the great services Cancer Assistance Program provides for frontline service for families that are dealing with loved ones dealing with that illness. Thursday, June 2nd, Festitalia Italian Heritage Awards, Mr. Mayor, at 6 p.m. at Michelangelo's. Congratulations and kudos to President Anthony Macaluso, his executive, past President Sam Chino. This is where the Italian community, in advance of the normal Festitalia month of September, they've had now for about 5 years a Heritage Awards night, various categories of Italian, Canadian achievement in our community, and I think it's wonderful that they recognize their members, the stellar ones who have achieved so much. So that's on Thursday, June 2nd, 6 p.m. at Michelangelo's, and they typically get 400 to 500 people in attendance. Lastly, Mr. Mayor, I'm having a Ward 6 community meeting for still some issues of traffic and speeding and some truck traffic in spite of the truck route ban along Mountain Brow Boulevard and Concession Street. So primarily the area from Upper Gauge over to the top of the Kenilworth Circle, but even from the circle along Mountain Brow all the way to Mohawk, in spite of the wonderful reconstruction project and all the compliments and the positive remarks that have been forthcoming, which I'm very proud of for the section of the Brow that was reconstructed with the new multi-use recreational trail. And in spite of some of the always stops we put in, we have some issues of some truck traffic that shouldn't be there, and we have some speeding issues from the circle over to Upper Gauge. So on Monday, June 6th at 6:30 p.m. at Sherwood Library, I'll have HSR staff, traffic staff, police there to discuss ongoing speeding, excessive noise along the Brow. And again, Chairperson Kate Fraser and her committee have helped me organize this meeting. Come out if you're interested and if you have concerns about speeding along Concession, the Brow, and Upper Ottawa. Monday, June 6th, 6:30 at Sherwood Library. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Green.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And I would be remiss if I didn't once again extend the invitation, acknowledging all the pressures that my good friend Councillor Pasuta is under in his ward with those waterfalls out there, beautiful amenity. I would like to invite everybody to Ward 3 at Gage Park to join us for those that perhaps might miss some of the amenities there at Webster's Falls. We have a beautiful urban green space that unfortunately I think is underutilized. And with the features that are there, I think it's a great opportunity to invite the good folks that are enjoying the public space and the conservation area to come down to Ward 3 and enjoy what I think is Ontario's best urban green space. So I'd like to begin with that, and also acknowledge that next week we're going to be starting an incredible soccer program supported by ArcelorMittal Dofasco to the tune of $25,000 a year. It's a 10-year commitment. I know Jesse Williamson, who was noted early, they got about 500 people down there with John Gibson in the soccer, Mount Hamilton Soccer, a program that's happening at Tim Hortons Field. It's a legacy program from our Pan Am Games, one that we're certainly proud of. Although in our ward we don't necessarily have golf simulators, we have great soccer players. So we would encourage all the people to come down and take full advantage of that program and enjoy the incredible Tim Hortons Field. Mr. Mayor, last council, I was very proud to announce the birth of my son. And as life would have it, in the cycle of life, today I'm actually here with a heavy heart to acknowledge the loss that we had in Ward 3 of Mr. David Lane. David Lane was the executive director of John Howard Society. And for those of you who know the work and know David Lane, the man, I can say, Mr. Mayor, and to members of council, that I considered him a friend, a mentor, somebody who provided our community tremendous support to the hardest to reach youth in our community, the gang intervention strategies that they provided in response and continue to provide in response to some of the pressures that we have in our ward. Today I attended his funeral. He was taken suddenly from us, and as my good friend Councillor Jackson would say, to be with his Lord. And I'll just say this about his work, that in our legal system, there is often no justice. In our legal system, we are shifting from a retributive, punishment-based system, tough on crime, that we know to not be effective in reducing the crime rates and the outcomes in our community. We know that those are failed policies. A program like the John Howard Society offers the opportunity for restorative justice. And in a restorative justice model, it gives youth the opportunity who have been perpetrators of crime to redress and restore their relationships, oftentimes with the victims and sometimes with the arresting officers and such. But David Lane was more than that. He, I believe, offered our community transformative justice in that he did not simply keep the process in between the individuals involved. He included our community, and he did so in a way with a dignity and grace that he could be talking to the least advantaged of us in 1 hour and be raising money with some of the most high-powered CEOs the next. He was a gentleman who had tremendous contribution to amateur sport and football, president of the Hamilton Ticats Alumni Association, and involved with the CFL Alumni Association. And I've had the misfortune of attending many funerals, Mr. Mayor, but I can say what I attended this morning in his celebration of life was one of the most beautiful celebrations that I have ever attended, that was a testament to his character and his contribution. So for those of you that know him or knew him, and even for those that don't, I would ask that you extend your thoughts and prayers and well wishes to his family and the community that will certainly miss him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad you raised that. I've known David Lane a long time, and I think he'll be considered a hero to many people in our community that he's given an opportunity to restore their lives. So transformative justice, I think, is the hallmark of what he's left behind, and if we're a worthy society, we will take heed of some of the lessons that he's been able to bring to our community for such a long time, and it takes an awful lot of determination and commitment to work in that space, and he did it incredibly well. So he certainly leaves behind an enormous legacy that we can build on, so thank you for sharing that. Councillor Farr.
My pal David Lane, night train. I called him, longtime pal, and corresponding with a lot of his friends, Glenn Gibson, James Simba, so many, Ron Sumner, so many in the last few days. Going to miss him. I'm so glad that I'm not going to go on. It was a great tribute, but another side to Dave was he's just a lot of fun. He's just so unassuming, but when you had a few hours or more with him and maybe a couple of pops, he was just a great man. He was such a cool dude, a former pro athlete, but a true friend if you had that opportunity in your lifetime to just spend a few hours with him. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, the John Howard Society, who worked, Dave pulled no punches working with you on your youth initiative, helped so much with that continued initiative, working with people like myself, Councillor Green and others, told it like it was, educated a lot of us in that process around this table and in the community, and I'm sure the John Howard Society is going to come up with some innovative program that pays tribute to Dave's legacy, and I hope that all of us, when that time comes and when they come to our table and make a request, which they may, that we'll give it serious consideration, if not for just the legacy that Night Train has left us. But I'm so glad, very moving words from Councillor Green. Night Train is already greatly missed, and 65 way too young for such a fit cat like that. Here's a guy who's 90, BNA Vice President Bill Simone, and they had a big surprise birthday party. They called it an emergency kitchen restoration meeting at the old Beasley Rec Center this past weekend, and Bill came angry, and I'm not surprised. He's very dedicated to his community, whether it's holding picnics, running the show for barbecues, important issue-related events, and long before my time as Ward 2 councillor, but certainly a good friend in the BNA in Ward 2 and to my office, and so I wanted to wish him a happy 90th. He was very surprised on the weekend, and Maureen made it. I couldn't, but I got him on the phone during the event. We presented him with a plaque and wished him all the best. You'd never guess this guy was 90. He moves and shakes like a young 50-year-old, and we're hoping for many more great years of engagement from 90-year-old Bill Simone there in the heart of Beasley, and happy birthday. Downtown Mosque this coming Saturday, Mr. Mayor, has their spring fair again, 11 to 7 at their new location, 221 York Boulevard, the former barn. On Monday, it's Bike to Work Day at City Hall, and I'm not sure why they keep asking me to host this thing, but I will host it. This year, for the first time, however, I'm leaving the Green Rally in the shed and taking my Sobe, which I'm on way more often than the Green Rally. In fact, I'm thinking about putting the Green Rally on Kijiji. Bikemonth.ca/Bike to Work Day is a long title to learn more about Bike to Work Day, so I encourage all who are viewing now to go to jasonfarr.com, and you can get the link there, a lot easier to remember, jasonfarr.com. And I look into the camera to close now of our good friends at Cable 14 and tell them how much impressed I am that prior to council today, their new show, Inside Council, was brought to you in the parking lot via generator because the power went out. I worked there well over 2 decades, and we were always very resourceful, the dedicated volunteers and the paid staff, and they showed it in spades today. The old expression in show business, while this isn't the highest form of show business, community television, was very much in the spotlight, and that is the show must go on, and it did. So thanks to Fortune, thanks to Sandy Shaw for my invite to a parking lot where to the left you could hear the sound of a generator, and to the right Sandy and Mike's good questions, and hence the reason for my perspiration. It was quite a humid one out there today, and just prior to council I had to stand in a parking lot for half an hour. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Cable 14.
Thank you. I thought you biked to work today. I didn't know you were sweating.
Yeah, that was on the Sobe, though.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much. 2 quick announcements, Mr. Mayor. This weekend, Losang Samten, who's a leading scholar of Tibetan Buddhism and a former monk and a great artist of mandala art, will be at Westdale United Church in Ward 1 for the entirety of the weekend, Friday through Sunday night. He's creating a sand mandala in the hall at Westdale United Church, and the public is welcome throughout the weekend to come observe the creation of this beautiful, traditional, spiritual Tibetan form of art. It's a beautiful image in sand that at the end of the weekend is swept away. And there are various philosophical messages tied up in the creation of the sand mandala and the sweeping away. And he's doing a variety of talks, a talk on Saturday morning and a talk on Sunday night at Westdale United, where I've been invited to be the moderator. Anyone who's interested in coming to look at the Sand Mandala being created, and or for one of the talks, please do check out the Westdale United Church website. That's going on this weekend, and needless to say, it's going to be an honor to participate. The other announcement I want to make is this. Ward 1 participatory budgeting is ongoing. The final date of vote is June the 3rd. You can vote with paper ballots in the public libraries in Ward 1. Most people are choosing to vote online, however. You can vote electronically, and this is to anyone in Ward 1, at 4ward1.ca. That's FORWARD numeral 1.ca. And there's $3 million in the participatory budget pot for this year. Last year's Ward 1 area rating and this year's Ward 1 area rating. Lots of votes have been cast, lots of great ideas to vote for, and please do vote if you're listening and if you're a Ward 1er. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you very much. And to add from myself, if you want to come over to my office without lilacs, the art exhibit from the Cottage Studio is still on display. These items are for sale. And as you well know, the Cottage Studio is dealing with folks with schizophrenia, and the art is all done by those that are challenged with various forms of mental health issues. And you are more than welcome, without lilacs, to come on over and have a look. And if you would care to purchase one, that would certainly help the association as well. So feel free to do that. And I will be participating in the Bike to Work on the 30th. So if you want to join me coming from the East End, meet me at the corner of Lawrence Road and King Street at about 7:30, and that'll get us here by 8 o'clock to join the celebration here out in the forecourt, hosted by our very own Jason Farr. So, and that's it for me. Councillor Whitehead, you had one more item.
That's great if you got a shower. I want to thank Jillian Henry. There was supposed to be a retirement party for her, and obviously she had her son come down with some medical challenges, and we've never ever had that retirement party. So I'm wondering if I can direct the mayor and get council support, if we can send something. Jillian Henry is being stalwart in regards to dealing with poverty, housing. Her commitment and dedication is unprecedented. And it's just sad that we never had a chance to truly say farewell to her because of the unfortunate circumstances in her family. So I would ask that the mayor consult with probably Joanne Priel and figure out what's appropriate, and if we have to dip into our budget to facilitate it, I'd love to do that. But I really want to send a very positive message in an otherwise trying time that he's gone through at a retirement. So I want to put that out there and leave it to the mayor's office to coordinate.
I will make sure that I do that in concert with the city manager. And I know that I'm not sure where Jillian is at this point, but I think it would be great if we still had an event for her. She was a great servant here, and I personally would want to talk to her about contributing further to our ongoing work in terms of the poverty and housing piece as a volunteer, but that's another topic. Mr. Murray.
So I was just speaking with Mike, and I understand there is some party being planned. So I'll obviously communicate the great idea and recommendation coming from Councillor Whitehead and yourself to be invited to participate, and so we'll make sure you know where and when, and go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Councillor Aidan Johnson, you have a motion on the bill list as presented, please.
Yes, thank you. The bills number 16-141 to number 16-157 be passed, and that the corporate seal be affixed thereto, and that the bylaws be numbered and signed by the mayor and the city clerk to read as follows.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And Bill 141. Carried. 142. Carried. 143. Carried. 44. Carried. 45. Carried. 46. Carried. 47. Carried. 48. 49. 150. 151. 52. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, do we not have the in-camera part? Did that get canceled?
We don't have an in-camera part, but not aware of any in-camera item.
Okay.
Is that a previous agenda maybe that got left behind? Motion to adjourn, moved by Piers, second by Brenda Johnson.